Why, hello, everyone. It's the Super Sunday Sports Algorithm podcast. We are alliterative and we are here. I'm your host, Ken Braverman. It's February 12th. It's Super Bowl Sunday. We're on the Excel Spraps channel, the Excel Spraps YouTube channel, which is my business name and apparently is the only thing Google will allow me to use and potentially put ads on in the future. So we're on a mission to get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours again, because I did that on my other channel over the last decade plus, and now we're going to do it on this channel. So subscribe and watch if you enjoy this. These will be a lot of longer podcasts where we're going to really talk into stuff, and I'll get funny and I'll get crazy the way I am, and we'll really dig into data analysis. And it's not for what happened here? It's not for I think this is supposed to be when. What do we do here? We screwed something. Anyway, we'll go through a bunch of things because I've built a bunch of different applications in Microsoft Excel and in Google Sheets, and they do interesting things, and people want to see them. It's been proven with my other channel and subscribers and people paying for algorithms and stuff that people want to see them. And it is my experience that most people that do well with these, they get a copy from me, they ask me some questions, they want updates, and they're using it and they're finding their own edge. And I think they're doing well for the most part. I know a lot of us are losing too. I am, of course, losing. And part of this podcast is going to talk about the psychology of gambling as well, because it's really important to talk about because I have a lot of experience with it. So let's back up though. Let's get to what you want. I want to give the people what they want, which is kind of what drives everything here. So I'm going to continue to do videos, and here we go. The football game today. Well, here's a day where even your passive bettor, somebody that got a free promotion from an email about a sports book, even that type of bettor usually does something and bets on the Super Bowl. Because it's a big party, people are drinking, there's occasional hookups. Let's face it, it's a good time, right? Super Bowl is essentially a February holiday. Super Bowl Monday, I think they were trying to declare it a holiday in one of the red states in the middle of the country because everybody's so wasted. And the game is going to go on forever. The only thing that you can predict about this game is that there will be at least, add those two together, 46 commercial breaks. They're going to give you a commercial break for every point that could potentially be scored in this game. That's how the Super Bowl works. And that's fine. You know why? Commercials are like movies now. Nobody goes out to the movie theater. They just sit in front of their big flat screen, sip on some Chardonnay with the neighbors, watch the kids, and don't watch the kids run around, and watch the game. So even the passive gambler bets. So what do? Let's open this up both ways and see both sides of the scheme. So what is it saying? It's saying that season stats wise, based on this thing that I've created called this breakdown, these win strength breakdowns and stuff, where we're heavily weighting home and away win percentage, which we should not do because this is not a true home game in Philadelphia. This game, I believe, is in Glendale in Arizona. So there's some problems with this anyway, but point of that long-winded response about what's going on is when you look at the picks, you see that raw team stat wise, the algorithm thinks that Philadelphia would win this game at home. And the score is not representative of what would actually happen. It would be the Eagles by a few. All right. That's kind of where the odds makers, I think, are getting some of their idea about this game. Makes a ton of sense. Eagles have a reputation as well as backing it up with numbers and actions of, essentially ending Brock Purdy's career the way things are going there. Even they say he's going to be back. Like this team's got a good defense, and it's really a matchup. I don't know how it's not a matchup of this, which is, can Mahomes' magic beat Philly's defense? And the algorithm says yes, but Mahomes has been limping. I don't care. It's been 2 weeks since a high ankle sprain. And he's going to be limping at some point in this game, unfortunately. It's just too likely given what he's going to have to do. So I don't want to think about if he gets knocked out, then everyone thinks, the Eagles do what they did to San Francisco and just run over this game. So it is a risky plus 105. I was talking to a 6 foot blonde 24-year-old in Oklahoma that I met a week ago. This morning, who texted me out of the blue. That's what you get when you have a YouTube channel, folks. Is you get 24-year-old blondes texting you. Hilarious. Hi, Lauren. Yeah, so I was texting her and she texts me out of the blue and she goes, I gotta read this. Well, it's right. You text me, you get your stuff read on YouTube. Watch out, ladies. She texted me and she goes, "Hey Kenny, ha ha, it's Ellie. I have no idea who's texting me at this point. I apologize for breakfast. No, you shouldn't apologize. We ate breakfast. It was funny. But it's Sunday. Who do I bet on? Ha ha. My gut told me the Eagles. I was like, you know what? Your 6 foot gut is right. I think the Eagles, I also think the Eagles win. And Smart Money's been saying Eagles and under. It says that you take Mahomes out of this game. Here's kind of how you can show what happens. What happens if Mahomes gets knocked out? I don't want to wish things. He's a great player. I don't wish injuries or anything. But we're just planning here. We're going through scenarios. So if we find his name and we remove it, okay, that's going to remove him out of the score. When we refresh, it's going to remove his offensive contribution out of the score, I believe. And it does. It makes it a tie game. So somehow backup quarterback who is who? Chad Henne. I mean, do the headlines tomorrow say Chad Henne comes in with a drive in the fourth quarter to win? That doesn't even sound right. So I don't know, algorithm. Algorithm's trying to doing its best if a quarterback gets removed, but you can see it's a tie game if that happens, apparently. Now, well, let's assume Mahomes plays because he's playing, and he is a magician, regardless of what he does today. Let's redo a second. So that's about football, is what I just said, which is if you if you are substituting, a Lord of the Rings trilogy for watching the Super Bowl today, and you want to see a good story, you definitely want to root on the half-wounded protagonist of the story being Patrick Mahomes. He probably pulls off some magic and beats Phillies. You've also got Kelsey. You've also got Andy Reid, that's actually known for defense, and perhaps the variance in the odds, the public perception and odds and betting on this game versus reality is that Andy Reid's defensive prowess and ability to play defensive games in big games is fantastic, coupled with Mahomes. So you can hold Philly to 3 scores or less, something like that, and Mahomes can pull something off late and win. That is what the algorithm is saying happens. What do I bet on? I'll tell you what I'm going to bet on. I am going through my own version of psychological rehab. This is where we're going through psychology here. I'm going to bet nothing as of right now on anything today because I have a gambling problem. And my problem is betting. My problem is not doing algorithms. I like talking about these. I like going through what the algorithm presents because it's just raw data that can be replicated by you all. And you all understand that we all have the same goal. And I'm totally on the level in trying to want to get these things to program as predictive as possible. And many of you have had success and have thanked me for it, both financially and just with words and comments. So that part of this I can handle psychologically. The looking at a million games in all sports as I do, what did I do here? I just screwed this up. I wrote over the word win, but looking over everything, it's not even going to let me do this. Watch, it's not going to let me do win. Let's see what happens. No, it does. All right, good. Sometimes it won't let you retype the word it was when you type over the pivot table. Long story about Excel. Anyway, let me back up for a second. So somebody's in my Discord. People are telling me there's a million things going on. Okay, backing up. We're slowing down again. Looking at a million games every day and me wanting to do the impossible, because I also am in favor of the protagonist, essentially. I want to root for the kind of the underdog to win. They are the underdog, I guess, in the game. I like rooting for that, and it makes for bad betting. You want to focus on areas that are supposed to happen, that you're getting paid reasonable amounts of payout on, that ceteris paribus, all other things being equal, your pick should be winning. And, crazy stuff happens all the time because it's sports. It doesn't win every time, but it's supposed to win and it does. And so when I talk about algorithms and then I go and I bet a million things and I don't hit them all and I lose every day. And I'm just not built for betting. I need to do something else financially. So the goal of me of what I'm doing is not to bet. I'll only bet if people send me money for the day for something, and I have this now free money sitting around that I just got for someone from an algorithm or whatever. I'll bet that because that doesn't seem like a loss. That seems like I'm using the money you give me to go bet. Well, my own money and clearly money I care about, I just can't. I have to stop doing that because it's not good for me. So I'm just going to talk about stuff, and I'm really, as of right now, I am planning to bet zero. Actually, I have $52 in there from last night. I'm going to bet the $52, but only because it's in there, and I really should take it out. If I don't get $50 from people today, maybe I won't bet that, but I probably will. No, I don't want to bet. See how I waver back and forth? This is the problem with addiction. I essentially have addiction to the sports betting part of this because I can't say no to that. So I really want to not, I cannot bet the Super Bowl. I'm such a weirdo that I could do all this and not bet anything today. I'm going to do that. So my goal is to not bet today. Let's continue. Yesterday, college basketball. Million games, we did not hit 100 wins. Looks like 96 and 46, if I got my scores in here correct, which is possible I didn't. There's a lot of scores to put in here. We were 77 and 65 on over-under, which I want to talk about in a second. So as a non-better right now, I still want to dive into the pivot table and show you where it was predictable and where you should be betting because I say certain things every day. I say things like, we don't have the 12th in here. Oh yeah, because they're in progress. I say things like bet on home teams above certain margin. Or our home teams won 80% of the time today, which is a little lower than I normally think. Usually it's between 80 and 90. But what about our home teams above 10% margin, which are our true 90% teams? We can filter for those. We can do it right here. Let's do it here. Filter those greater than the margin. It's greater than 0.1 at no home bump. I haven't updated any stats or anything for today yet, so this is true as of yesterday. We win 83% of our games, so still not a good day. But hold on, there's a but. The but is this: you wouldn't bet Mississippi because of this health. So I almost don't want to call this a loss because the algorithm says don't take this. It also says don't take Cincinnati either because of this. So you can't count that as a win if you're using the same logic. And it would say don't take Central Florida, and it would say don't take Boise State. So you're taking 3 wins off there. At 4 wins, we would not have had Tennessee because of this. How about that? Tennessee goes down. A very big upset there, I believe. I think so. Yeah, they're a strong team. Yeah, they lost. So you can see that the injuries were spotty, but they did hit some of the losers, and it's really helpful to stay away from teams below at 90% health. So in that sense, there's two losses that get pulled off of here. So it's 5 losses really, but you got to take 1, 2, 3, 4 probably wins off. So it's like 30 and 5, which 30 and 5 is 86%. So it's close, as you can see. It's still pretty darn reliable. Now, was this profitable? Let's start to talk about our profitability. Just betting money line home teams, which is a very narrow way of looking at profitability, and obviously one that doesn't have a ton of variances because the home teams are at terrible lines all the time. But the cumulative ROI and running total happens right here. And you can see we were profitable up to this game. Then you lose that Edwardsville game. You stay profitable. Then you start to go unprofitable. And I think you end. No, you do end. You end. How do you end? You end barely profitable at 3%. So it's clearly a wash day on your home teams, although not terrible. All right. What about all games? All games are just going to have a bunch of away teams on top, show some profitability in the beginning, stays around 10%. Wow, what's this? Wow. I'm surprised to see it profitable descent. We're descending by margin, all teams, and we end. I wouldn't care too much about how we end because way at the bottom, a lot of these away teams would get knocked off because of home bum. But if you're looking at this, what I'm talking about, I know I'm talking a lot of words and there's a lot of stuff going on the screen. It's tough to understand. But what I'm saying is, I wouldn't expect stuff at the bottom to stay profitable forever. I don't think any algorithm could make toss-up games always be profitable at the bottom. But if you're maintaining profitability down to like 10%, 10% or 15% margin, like see this right about starts at huge margins in these games. Like College of Charleston was supposed to destroy Hampton. They won but didn't cover, like because these spreads are insane at like 16 and a half or whatever. So when you look at the profitability by margin, I'm saying when you get down to like 15 or 10% right about here, what was our profitability? Only 1%. It didn't get profitable until, oh no, that's way too far down. Never mind. How about 20% margin? We'll see. Here's our max profitability is like right here. Where was that? That was at about closing in on 20% margin, actually, right? 19%. And that's going to be due to certain lines and stuff that are offered. But that is promising because you do want to have that profitability top down that I'm looking at over here, cumulative profitability. See how it's green in this subsection? That's great. Like, how was it for away teams? It was green for all our away teams on money. Amazing. I always say never bet an away team, so obviously they're profitable because anything that comes out of my mouth that involves winning money just explodes into nothingness. Your home profitability stops right about here because you lost some games, but there were some injuries, which we can do this too. Watch this. We're going to filter for health has to be greater than 0.9 for the team of reference. That's going to remove those games where I said the injuries were bad. And that makes us 45 and 11. Oh, because we're not at 10% margin. Yeah, okay. That makes us 45 and 11. What's our profitability look like? No, it doesn't really help much. Although then you wait a minute. Although you do get profitable down here. So there was this weird chunk of home losses. Yeah, Fairleigh Dickinson lost, killer. Pine Bluff lost. I had those were mentioned as the 5 to play. Those were the value picks. See, these value picks. Our value picks did not do good. Let's remove that health filter for a second. So the health, while it helped you dodge some stuff, you can see it helped slightly, but only because it helped you dodge some stuff, but you also missed some stuff, which is the problem with a low health number is you don't know what you're going to get. It's the Forrest Gump box of chocolate stack in this algorithm because you never know what you're going to get. You never know if your player's going to play or the bench players are going to play or what. So it makes it difficult to wager on. And just like in the stock market, uncertainty is bad for people making big financial decisions. Uncertainty should be bad for you making wagering decisions if you're trying to count on winners every day. So I'm actually not as upset with my home teams, and I'm not really upset with the margin. We learned that margins above 20% overall still led to profitability on this enormous day where we didn't do great, and the value picks. Oh yeah, I wanted to look at the value pick order. Did not do great. So we're descending by line value now. We're going to show those value picks up top, and the home value picks were, Tennessee Martin crushed it. Milwaukee won. These two lost close ones. Chattanooga won. St. Francis lost. Mason won. And then these string of wins, which I stopped and didn't wager on. Because in the video yesterday, I'm like, no, just take the value picks. I'm like, just do these. Even though I've said before, you can take value picks where the line differential number is around -50, that's acceptable based on historical profitability, which means this number right here can go all the way down to here of -50 or even -75. Yeah, you could have got all these. And look at that. All of those, a lot of them won. I mean, there's a string of 13 winners here that I didn't really wager on at all. I think I took over unders. Now, let me explain over unders. We have even more to discuss on this sports algorithm podcast today. Look at our over unders winning 54%. Well, I've done something with over unders, and I've done this whole area with over unders. So we're actually going to hide money line and health, and we're going to hide all this. And we're going to go to just projected score stuff and over unders. All right. We're not going to worry about profitability and spread covers and line differentials because they don't apply with our over unders. I have a different thing when we're looking at over unders. Okay. Our over under is this. We don't care about the line value, and we don't care about games played. So the over under situation is quite intriguing. And I messed around with this yesterday because I love the numbers. But look at what's going on here. So I set up an area that compares the projected score from the algorithm, right? This is algorithm projected total points. And then there's the odds makers line, right? And you can see like it's super close in this game. We thought 150 points, and there was a odds makers just a half point below that. This game went over. So we predicted the over barely, and we hit the over with the final points hitting that. Our difference was low, so it was a game I didn't want to wager on. Watch this. We're now going to sort by over odds differential, whatever. We're going to sort by this number. And wow. Wow. Boy, it tells me I got to do work on the projected score in this file. So what we just did is we sorted this by range, the highest to the lowest. Okay. And yeah, damn. How did I miss this? This is freaking unbelievable. This is 12-4 in the top 16, and even these still wins. Like if you're winning 2 and losing 1, you're doing okay, man. So on this end of the things, we did do okay, but man, the other end we did terrible. So we really can learn about what's happening. What do I mean? Let me explain what's happening here. So a 16.5, very large number, which is what we're sorting by in this sort, is saying, well, the odds makers thought there was going to be a ton of points in this game. We think so much less. So we're absolutely taking the under in the Coppin State, South Carolina game. They, of course, blew it out of the water and went the other direction. So this is the algorithm missing so badly that it was the number one pick for us on the under, and the game went 15 points over, and I don't even think it went to overtime, right? The final score was 84-94, right? So they blew it out. The algorithm clearly terrible. If I give you an algorithm that does this every day, then, which I have been, this is trouble. Like we are clearly screwing this up. All of these were huge losers, all of them. So something in our point projections when it comes to total points in this area, which clearly needs research, is wrong. That means that the standings distribution is doing something incorrect in conjunction with the multiplier thing, which is up here, that those all together and whatever's in my projected score formula, okay, which is right here, we're using standings, we're using average score, that this is not good enough, is what that is saying. I absolutely am being told by the algorithm this is unacceptable. All right. So now that's unacceptable, but wait a minute. What happens when we sort the other way? Because I'm just complaining about the algorithm, which, by the way, I bet the under in the Coppin State game. I watched myself lose. And we're going to talk about the other side in a second. Watch this. This is really, really weird. So we're going to resort it the other way, where now we have the games where we thought the game would be over the most compared to the odds makers, right? There was this North Texas Charlotte game, and here we have many more wins, right? This means when we're predicting an over, we're getting the over. When we're predicting an under, we are not getting the under. So if we're predicting an over and we're getting the over, it means, well, two things. It means we're good at predicting games with a lot of points and having them go over the published over, but we're also inflating our scores apparently, because on the other side of it, when we're trying to predict the under, we're way off. Actually, that's not even totally linear. we're off potentially for another reason. I shouldn't say we're over predicting scores. We're distortedly predicting scores. That's for sure. I need to find out why. Now, that gets into this game. This game that ended at 110 points when the over-under was set at 111 had not a single point scored in it in the last three, I believe 3.5 minutes of the game. I was watching that wondering why no one was scoring, and I don't know, but that's pretty crazy. As a matter of fact, I don't think any of the games other than this game that happened yesterday had any situation where not a single point was scored in the last 3.5 minutes of the game, except for this one. So all you conspiracy theorists out there, or anybody that watched that game, that's pretty crazy. I bet on the over, obviously, and I lost. I shouldn't do that anymore. That's my dissertation on that game. Next, we have a bunch of wins, right? So this worked out well. So for whatever reason, our overs did really well and really contributed to that. So what have we learned? We've learned I shouldn't bet, which we knew all along. But we also learned that you can trust the overs in this sort, and you can trust the home teams, and you can trust teams above 20% margin. They seem to be profitable on straight bets. If I was not a person with a betting problem, I would absolutely consider doing that and try to get a small 10 or 15% ROI daily or something on that. But I'm bad at that. I'm just bad, so I'm not gonna do it. So that's college basketball for yesterday. There's a today. Today's a Sunday. We're late already. We're probably not gonna be able to make action on these games, but they are here. And just the ones I got. And so so home teams, all lines are pretty bad, but Fairfield should beat Mount St. Mary's 8% margin, but Mount St. Mary's has injuries. Sienna's even more with I haven't updated, so we shouldn't even care. But I do want to check one thing, which is over under stuff. Is there any situation where we have a huge number on the positive side, or no, on the negative side? That's what we want. So we want the over in the Purdue game and the over in the North Carolina Greensboro game. Those two are probably got a good chance if they're not going on, which they probably are. All right, so that's college basketball. Now let's go to hockey because this is a podcast, everybody. There were games yesterday. And there are games today. Starting right now, my Caps are playing. I'm gonna probably pay attention a little bit to that. They just played last night. They pulled off the impossible and beat Boston. How about scores for yesterday? We're looking at it. The Oilers are losing. Oh, there's another game going on today I don't even have in here. I'll show you how to add it. We're gonna add this game. This is Edmonton. I think we just say Oilers versus Caps already losing 1-0 too. Versus the Canadiens, les Habitants. They also pulled off the impossible. I don't know what time this game was, and I don't know what the line was. But let's go and grab the goaltenders for those games so we can get this right. You do this by going into RotoWire and getting the starting goalies. You don't even have to pay for this part. And it's free. It's always there. And we paste that over here. And we're going to let's get rid of this junk at the bottom. So that should work. And yep, those names are going to be fixed. All those other games are going to have broken. I'm not even going to worry about scores. I know Chicago probably lost. Right? Who cares? It's going to screw stuff up, but wait, I just want to refresh for today, and then maybe we'll go over tomorrow in a second. Video as long as it is. And then I need to put 213 in for this other game. Edmonton. I mean, it should say Edmonton's going to beat Montreal, even though they're losing for sure. Yep. So we've added the games, and yeah, Edmonton's supposed to crush it. Maybe they'll come back. Vegas supposed to win, and the Caps would win kind of barely, but but they just played last night. So they're gonna have to wake up for some offense at home right before the Super Bowl. So that's today. Hockey, I mean, one thing that's for sure about if you want to bet and you want to win frequently, don't bet on hockey. If you want to enjoy watching some games and occasionally win at a good line, then bet on hockey. I'll recite what I heard from I believe, a professional gambler in Vegas, some guy who knew what he was talking about. This is years and years and years ago, before I even started doing the NHL algorithm. And he goes, "You know how to bet hockey?" And I was like, "No." He goes, "Just bet the underdog every game." I'm like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, they're just it's a really tough game. It goes off bounces and you get favorable lines in that direction and the weird happens. Well, let's see. Did that work yesterday? I will actually do scores. Let's do that. The Canucks. All right, we'll start at the top. I think I got all these games in at the top. I screwed up all the historical stuff because I didn't just freeze it because we're rushing, but that's okay. Florida lost to Colorado. Columbus. Yeah, Columbus beat Toronto, right? They were plus 340 yesterday. They won 4-3. Hilarious. The Rangers did win, and I did bet them. I did win something yesterday, even though that's why I have $50 in my account still. Arizona lost, and I bet them to win. They blew a 2-0 lead. The Devils lost and blew a 2-1 lead. Of course, I had them. The Blackhawks lost, and I bet them for some reason because I just bet all the underdogs. And Pittsburgh lost 6-0. Wow. Okay. Yikes. Yikes, Aroni. We can fix this. Hold on. Let's fix this real quick. Show you how to fix this so we don't get errors. So I'm just going to look up the team name and I'm going to bring in a goalie, even though I haven't updated any stats today. I didn't do any of this because I got other things I got to do, guys, right? And that's going to bring in a valid goaltender. And I'm overriding this formula, so I like to notate that. And this will just fix all the stuff for yesterday. So basically now everyone has a goalie and now the projected scores work correctly. So now when we go back to yesterday, we can actually get a look. It's reasonably accurate. 5 and 9. Yep, no surprise. And then right, so underdogs, would it have paid out? Buffalo loses, Vancouver loses, Montreal wins at plus 180. So now you're almost even. Ottawa loses, Philly loses. The underdog's kind of Tampa Bay, and they win here. Good team. Tampa Bay, good team. And I don't know. The odds did not go. It was Wedgwood anyway. Washington wins at plus 168. Colorado wins at plus 112. Now you're getting back to even or close to up. Columbus wins at 285, makes you a winner on the day right now. Rangers win at plus 180, makes you an even bigger winner. Arizona loses. Jersey loses. Chicago loses. Pittsburgh loses. So you're slightly up to even betting all the underdogs on the day, on a huge day like that, right? It's funny. And if you just bet the big underdogs, like 200, what would you say, 200 or better, that's Chicago, because that's just the point, is hockey is like that. Columbus, nobody else was over 200. And if you bet everybody over plus 150, you totally make out, because you have, look at that. If you say 150 or better, you have Montreal. Oh my goodness. Montreal, Washington, Columbus, Rangers, Arizona, Chicago. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have 6 games. So imagine you bet $1 on every game. All right. You get $6 wagered and you win 180 plus 168. Wow. 340 plus 285. Wow. 620, 630 almost, plus 180. 738. Is it 810 or 910, something like that? Yeah, you are a winner for sure. Doing everything plus 150. And that, I mean, that's ironically, that goes against almost everything the algorithm would be presenting in most cases. There's only limited instances where it in any way had a team that was a big underdog of plus 150 or better be favored. In like the Rangers was one of them, which is one of the reasons I bet it and won. But doesn't have Columbus. Other than Toronto loves to lose games, I say that, but the algorithm doesn't think so. Right. So there's just no reason. And I've kind of in Montreal. I mean, I bet against Martin St. Louis yesterday. And I lost. I so deserve it. So it's kind of like you can look at hockey in that framework because it is hockey. And it's a funner way to bet because I've done this before. I mean, I've known this for a while. I've said it for years, right? This person told this to me long before. That's why it sticks in my memory, because I ran a test a couple years ago in the first 3 months of the season. He was deep in December already or something, and I did all the games and I did all the underdogs over certain ranges, and I swear it was profitable straight down all the way to like the last game, and I was like, wow. And I know it's not a tremendous amount of money. I think it ended up being 3% ROI, overall cumulative ROI. But when you're talking about wagering and essentially using the sports betting market as an investing tool, or like as a more reliable return tool rather than a gambling tool, as I think many of us that have used the system probably use it as, then you find you're like, well, if I just bet these high underdogs every game and I have a 9% ROI this year, I just keep doing it at a very reasonable amount per game. And you're going to have swings up and down like everybody has swings, but you're supposedly end up overall because it's what the numbers said. So there's a part of me that wants to listen to the numbers, but I can't. I say can't. You can't. Can't is the banned word, really. Can't. You never should say I can't. I guess I could do that, and if I were to do that today, then I would have taken Anaheim, which I think you still can, and San Jose because it's over plus 155, and probably Montreal because they're over. They would have been over 150. I bet all the underdogs, and one of them's winning, and two of them I think are winning right now. So I guess it's Anaheim. All right, guys, that is the Super Bowl Sunday podcast. If you stuck with it, and I will be back doing these as we build subscribers and build user base as we get this to 1,000 and 4,000, and we do it again. All right, good luck. May all your picks be winning and enjoy the Super Bowl.